Hi everyone, my name is Amanda Jackson, and I'm going to be going over the program assessment portion of the virtual training today. So, a program assessment describes the activities the community or jurisdiction is currently using to address the problems identified. We want to know your past and current efforts indicating what worked or did not work. We want to hear your story about what you're doing to address the traffic safety problems in your area. We do not want to know what you plan to do in the future. Again, this is what you're currently doing. Two examples include our pedestrian safety grant. So if I was applying for a pedestrian safety grant, I could talk about the existing relationships that I have with schools, law enforcement, and other safety-based organizations. I can talk about the different media campaigns that I've done, as well as the different partners that I have. If I'm applying for a car seat educational grant, I can talk about the car seat checks, the number of community partners, and the buy-in that I have from local leadership. For program assessment, for some of the grants, you all will need to complete a chart. For colleges, you need to enter the current student population. And for law enforcement agencies, you must provide the current level of enforcement activity for the entire department for the 3 previous calendar years. For non-law enforcement agencies, you simply enter 0. This is a program assessment chart for our college applications. And this is the chart for our law enforcement agencies. Roger Hayes leads the law enforcement liaison team, and they'll go through this chart to make sure that the information in this chart matches the information in your problem ID, and it'll be verified against gears as well. Now we're going to focus on goals and objectives in this section of our GOHS grant application. So what are our goals? Goals are broad, brief statements of intent that provide planning, focus, and vision. In EGOS, there are a list of pre-selected goals that you can choose from. Some of these include reducing alcohol and drug-related crashes and fatalities, increasing overall safety belt usage, increasing overall child restraint usage, reducing speed-related crashes, injuries, fatalities, and reducing pedestrian fatalities and injuries from traffic crashes. Our goals are a big picture for our grant application. Next, we're going to talk about objectives. They are strategies or implementation steps to attain the identified goals. Our objectives are SMART. They're specific, they're measurable, they're achievable, they're relevant, and they're time sensitive. If you look in Appendix B of your training packet, you will see some examples of SMART goals. The last bullet on this slide is based on proven countermeasures. The Countermeasures is a book from the National Highway Traffic Safety Administration that looks at evidence-based programs. You can look at this book to develop some program objectives. When you read the countermeasures, NHTSA is going to evaluate different programs on 4 different things. Effectiveness. Is it evidence-based? Does the research show that it works? Cost. How expensive? Use. How many states across the country are doing this? And time. How long will it take? If you go to our website at gahighwaysafety.org, there is a data sheet that has different national resources that you can look at to help develop your objectives. Some examples include AAA, the Governor's Highway Safety Association, as well as the research articles in university groups. 2 examples of SMART objectives, one for an educational grant and one for a law enforcement agency, go like this. Purple Agency will educate 100 families on helmet use for bicycles at schools during the grant year. The Powersville Police Department agrees to make 150 speed contacts per month during the grant year. The next section we're going to talk about is activities and evaluations. As previously discussed, our goals are a vision. They're what we want to achieve. Our objectives, we're describing results to be achieved and the manner in which we will do it. So our activities are the specific actions taken each month to accomplish the objective. Some examples include distributing 100 child safety seats, conducting 10 citizen contacts monthly, and participating in GOHS campaigns like Click It or Ticket, Operation Zero Tolerance, or 100 Days of Summer Heat. An example of an activity statement for our example for the Powersville Police Department includes the Powersville Police Department will make 150 speed contacts per month during the grant year. So each objective must be evaluated. There are two different types of evaluations. We have process evaluations and impact evaluations. Process evaluations determine if a program activities are being implemented as intended. It looks at the fidelity of the program. So on this slide right here are examples of process evaluations. We're checking the child safety seat inspection forms. We're collecting verbal warnings, written warnings, and citations given. We're participating in GOHS NHTSA campaigns and documenting those in our monthly reports. For our process evaluations, we also want to see sign-in sheets, agendas, photos, and rosters. At GOHS, we want to see the great work that you're doing in the community and how you're doing it. The second type of evaluation that we have is called an impact evaluation. This is especially important for our educational grants. We want to see program effectiveness in achieving goals. Is there a change in attitude, knowledge, behavior, or beliefs for participating in your educational program? There are many different types of impact evaluations, and if you're part of a university or you're part of an agency that has a professional evaluator, please talk to them. There are some great ideas out there that you all can do for your grant application. I do want to give an example, a very popular example that is easy to implement, and that is the pre-post test. So if I was teaching about teen driving in schools, I would give a pre-test to the students. It could be 5 questions. I would give my presentation and give that same 5-question post-test to the same students. Afterwards, I would average the pre-test scores and average the post-test scores. And if the scores increased, learning has occurred. And going back to our Powersville Police Department example, this is being an example of their evaluation. The Powersville Police Department will document their speed contacts and their monthly programmatic reports. Enforcement hours will be filled by resources that hold the appropriate certification on traffic enforcement equipment. So again, we have process and impact evaluations, and both are important for a grant application. The last part of this section is the milestone chart. That is the boxes on the bottom of the screen. So our milestone chart documents when the activities will occur. So we want to look at the frequency and when the activities will occur. I'll provide 3 different examples. So if my activity is attending monthly community partnership meetings, I would put a 1 in November, a 1 in October, a 1 in December, a 1 in January to complete the chart. So I would have a total of 12 meetings for this activity. Let's say my grant is planning community car seat checks, and I want to plan car seat checks in March, June, August, and September. So March, I would have a 1 in the box. June, I would have a 1 in the box. August and September, I'd have a 1 in a box for a total of 4 car seat checks. For the events with no activity, I would simply just put a 0. And for my example with the Powersville Police Department and making 150 speed contacts a month, I put 150 in October, 150 in November, 150 in December, 150 in January, etc., for a total of 1,800 speed contacts during the grant year. If you are a school, for example, one of my SAD or YA programs, be mindful of when your activity will occur. If school is not in session, for example, in June and July, put a 0 during those months so you're not planning activities when school is not in session and students are not on campus.